Bam. Hi, I'm Seamless, and today is supposed to be when I do the track from scratch stream, but I was feeling super nostalgic last night, and I got the idea that I'm just going to do a stream where I play all my old music. And by old music, I mean before I was ever called Seamless, and sometimes when I was called Seamless. But, because there is a whole world of stuff that I've done for way more years than anyone is familiar with my own Seamless work has done. A lot of people don't know about the old stuff, and mostly because I don't show it. So this will be fun. And it'll also serve to show people where I came from when it comes to how I learned to do what I do, what I did when I was learning, and sort of that kind of stuff. So first I have to find my freaking music. Ah, there it is. Nope, not that one. That one. Mine. Here it all is. Do I have... That's in there, I guess. What do I mean with super old music? My metal band? Actually, not a lot of it's going to be metal. Some of it will be metal, but not much. It'll be great. Anyway, it would be a disservice to start this with anything other than the first track I ever made. I have to warn you, this is going to be loud as shit because I was awful. So, caveman music, oh boy. So this is 2004. I'm in what's referred to as Paideia at Pioneer Valley Performing Arts Charter High School. What Paideia is a 2 or 3 week period between semesters where we do only one thing. We only do one thing all day. And the one thing, it's various performing arts. You can do the play, you can do something like fencing. I did fencing in 9th grade. But in 10th grade, I went to electronic music production, otherwise known as Techno Paideia, despite, not actually producing techno. And they had copies of FL3 and Reason 2, because it had Macs and PCs. And being a PC guy, I chose FL3. And eventually, I made this. And I really, I cannot express how stupidly loud and terrible this track is. So, really prepare your volume. Playing in 3, 2, 1. There were actually drums in that track. It was kind of hard to tell. I didn't know anything about mixing. I knew nothing about anything. I used Plucked to make every sound in there and the Blood Overdrive plugin. So I just destroyed the shit out of everything, and that happened. My my mastering method was just to turn down the master channel until it stopped clipping so much. Not until it stopped clipping, because oh boy was that clipping, but not until it stopped clipping too hard. That was 10% volume on that track that made that happen. So yeah, that was that. So that was the first track. Now, I don't think I made much else with FL3 because FL4 was actually out at that point. Just that the school didn't have a copy of it. So when I did some research, I got the demo of FL4 from the FL website, and I proceeded to make another track using one of the templates that had a whole bunch of plugins or whatever. And it came out to be this one. Which one of these? Why do I have more than one? Yeah, okay. Well, let's play this one. So that was that. I actually kind of grasped important things pretty fast. Like I knew how to actually sequence things in the playlist. I didn't make up a song in one entire pattern. I knew how to do slide notes. That was pretty important. But sidechaining on point. There was no sidechaining in that track at all. It was just I think there might have been a compressor on the master channel on that template. Not a limiter, mind you, but like the actual fruity compressor. Maybe there was a limiter back then. I don't remember. But that was FL4. And then I got the demo. Now, that was the demo. And what really clinched it for me, what really made me want to get it, was FL Keys and FL Slayer. At that point, because it might not have occurred to you, but on the plucked thing, that thing with her, I was actually trying super hard to emulate a guitar. Because I didn't really know it back then, but I was into metal. I was mostly into sort of like soundtrack style metal. This is 2004, 2005, so like I'm super into, you know, like I that sort of business. And so I eventually convinced my mother to buy for me an actual version of FL4. I got the producer edition, which got me all the stuff that I wanted. And I proceeded to make some seriously terrible songs. And like I could not even imagine it. I can't explain to you how like pumped I was for Slayer, because I was like, that's so real. It's such a good guitar sound. For example, I made stuff like this. Not totally sure if that was an FL4 or 5, because I think I may have used the FPC to make that. Although now that I think about it, I don't believe that I did, because the kick that I was using was one of the real kick, the RD kick samples, and that was in there for a very long time. None of this is ordered chronologically, so I gotta like sift through this to try and find things that are relevant. I did, and after that, I made this track called Cloudy. this actually I think is one pattern, and this is a 3x OSC preset. Someone in the chat just asked for the other song if with that kick it was distorted on purpose, and I want to let you know, not a single fucking thing I did back then was on purpose. Keeps on like that for kind of a while. It wouldn't be the last time I do something like that. I made a track using the. I really hope I have this. I do. So this is a song I made entirely in one pattern out of that default, that one sound font that's in the sound font player. What the hell's that thing called? It's the string library. But I made this with that. Goes on like that for a while, and the cool part happens later, where the beat changes up. Here comes the drop. So on and so forth. See, the thing is that I'm pretty sure I still have the project for that, which is just a whole bunch of MIDI. And I've tried to redo that song with like fucking East-West stuff, like, you know, actually like correctly, and I can't. Like, it just doesn't work. A lot of, and this is actually true for a lot of my older songs that I still have projects for, is that like they sound a certain way that they sound now, and that was the way that they were designed to sound because that's the only thing I could do at the time. And like sounding any other way just feels wrong now, and I can't. A lot of things are just going to stay that way, which is super unfortunate. Or, you know, fine, honestly. Some of these older songs are pretty okay, but I don't know, I'm biased. So let me think here. Okay, so here's a really funny one. This is something I made in 2005, and this requires a bit of a silly story. It's called Final Forest. It's called Final Forest because I made a song called Forest, and then I made like 9 versions of it. Now, the reason I made this song, so early on in my career, I tried really hard to make myself relevant to other people as being the music guy. I'm sure plenty of you have actually done this yourself, but this is before YouTube existed. This is before, actually, this is right around when YouTube was brand new. This is before really most tutorials for anything existed. This is before, I mean, I guess the forums existed. And actually, I was a part of a music forum on the Mega Tokyo forums, like the webcomic Mega Tokyo. In fact, I was pretty relevant, or rather engaged in many webcomics that I still am now, but I would be on their forums, and I would try to be the music guy in the forums, because nobody else was, and I wanted to be special. So, this forest song, what the hell was that thing called? It's a game, a really weird game. I think it's still there, but it was called Furcadia. Now, some of you might know what that is. You might be thinking, oh my god, Seamless is a furry. And I'm really not. I just, a lot of webcomics I read happen to be furry. And so that meant that I kind of spent a lot of time interacting with that particular community, which is ridiculous. I've seen some things, man. Anyway, this guy had like a map. Because you can have like areas in Furcadia, I guess. And, oh boy. Oh, someone subscribed. Thanks, Vargles. Yeah, you subscribed a lot. You're a dude. GG dude. Anyway, so the guy wanted me to make a tune for his place. Now, I did not know a single thing about like MIDI files back then. I knew that they would be, you know, notes, that's whatever. But FL has a feature where you could render out your stuff as MIDI files, as a MIDI file. So Furcadia takes MIDI files, that's how it plays stuff. And so I tried to write a song with instruments, and I tried to render it as a MIDI file thinking it would just play the instruments. I didn't know that it would not do that. But I'm making the song, and we're going to play the entire thing. And it's going to sound really stupid, but there's a reason for it, and it's because of the other song that I want to show you that I made in 2007, 2 years later. Somebody in the chat just asked, is this pre-trap? And yeah, it is. Actually, I could show you the song that I based this on. Oh shit, no, I can't, because I don't remember the name of the damn thing. Balls. It was the OST for .hex sign. It was track 8 on the disc. I don't remember what it was called. Jesus. Shittles. Hold on. This might be it. All the videos are taken down. GG YouTube. Whatever. Anyway, I had a hat pattern that I thought was really dope, and in a breakbeat kind of way. And so I tried to do that, and it was a lot of like glitchy, lot like fast hats. So that's why I did that. I knew not a single thing about hip hop at this point. about to get real. Prepare yourself. I think this qualifies as my first drop ever. Piano solo. The fuck was that? And then it ends. So, still didn't quite get compression. I was using it, certainly. I didn't quite get it. Didn't get mixing, didn't get EQing, didn't get sidechaining, barely got arrangement. And actually, like for a lot of my older stuff, you're gonna see this. You see a trend when we listen to some other ones. I had this obsession with things having solos. I'm really not sure where I got that because I didn't listen to a lot of music with solos before that. I wasn't a big metalhead. Like my favorite track, like up to this point, was "Duel of the Fates" by John Williams. So like, this is. Like every once in a while I make a track and I would just drum solos. A lot of times there's a lot of drum solos, like just lead instruments having solos and stuff. It's weird. There's bass solos, like bass riff solos on some stuff. It's intense. So like there's that track. Now I really liked that track for kind of a long time, but then 2 years later I decided I was gonna make a better version of it. Now 2 years has passed. This means a couple of things. That track happened in 2005. I don't know if FL5 happened yet, but I wasn't using FBC, I wasn't using sound fonts, and I was still using my extremely basic knowledge of how to use Slayer. Now, I want you to know that in this song I'm about to play you, it's still Slayer. It's just a lot better. Remember the piano solo? So in the chat asks, are all those tracks in the same key? And the answer to that is probably not. So while we're on the tangent of guitars, I can actually show you the first thing I ever recorded with a guitar ever. This was in 2008. In December of 2008, actually, that's when I got a guitar for Christmas. This is fairly recent. We're kind of done doing like fully chronological stuff now because I don't have a list of all this shit. So here's this. This is before I knew anything about multi-tracking. Still don't know what to do about mixing. Just terrible at it. Terrible. Some of the chat mentioned that sounds like old Muse. Now, let's talk about Muse for a second. Let's talk about this goddamn track. I realized a friend of mine, I had never heard of Muse until kind of late, and then a friend of mine showed me Nights of Sidonia. And I listened to it, and the entire time that I was listening to it, I was thinking about what I would do next after the part, and it was what they did every single time. And, like, people are saying that I sound like Muse, and I just want to say Muse sounds like me. Not that they had any idea who I was back then, but come on. It's a little freaky, isn't it? Can I still play the guitar? Absolutely. Do all the time. Somewhat later, the next year, I made the song that I called Bloodshock. And this actually was a test for me to build like an actual... people just didn't hear anything about Muse. The actual thing on that's Sidonia is really good though. God damn it, what am I talking about? So I was just starting to kind of form a metal band with some friends of mine, and I wanted to see if I could actually make a metal song from beginning to end, because so far I only made snippets of stuff. Not really really doing it that way. Where's the fair use Muse? That's pretty funny. But anyway, here's this song. I'm not gonna play the whole thing because it's fucking long, but I will skip ahead to the part that matters. Oh, actually, I played the very beginning. Any of you who are avid StarCraft 2 players, listen very carefully to this song, and note that this was made in 2009. if you're wondering what the connection is, I used Atmosphere or Omnisphere to make all like the pads shit in this song. Just straight up Omnisphere presets, and then so did they. Easy drummer hype indeed. I just want to say that my studies for this song were Dream Theater and Children of Bodom. And then it fades out, which I really kind of hate because I don't like fade outs. So I mentioned in the middle of that, I don't know if you heard me, that my primary influences for this track were Children of Bodom and Dream Theater. The Dream Theater part is pretty fucking clear. Like in the solo part, it's basically just Panic Attack right there. But like the funny part is that while I was influenced by Children of Bodom just for like the sound and the feeling of things, I actually didn't know about oh shit, what the hell is that song called? There's a song that they did that's like almost precisely that riff. But I had not heard that song when I made that riff, which is really funny. That happens in metal a lot. Someone in the chat asked, when did I become seamless? And at this point, I actually was already seamless, but I wasn't seamless in like a professional sense. I had made my YouTube channel in 2008 for the express purpose of just putting up bullshit gaming clips. Like I I was called Seamless in games, like that was my gamer tag kind of thing, not my literal gamer tag because I never owned an Xbox, but the I was using the name. And then see, like I was really into like super like orchestra high epic stuff, like not dubstep, but like electronic rock kind of things. Like here's the thing I never finished. This was in 2011, so this is like right before I started doing like seamless stuff everyone knows me about. I also really like Lord of the Rings. And then it repeats because I never finished it. You want to know the absolute funniest thing about this song? It was part of a larger epic. I wanted to make. There's actually a thing called the RPM challenge online somewhere, and every February people get together to make an album in 1 month. That's like the challenge, right? I had never once completed that, but the that year, this was 2011, and I wanted to make a Minecraft epic. I wasn't even really that into Minecraft, but like I knew that everyone else was, so I thought to myself, okay, let's try and push this to the next level. So I wanted to make a Minecraft epic, and I wanted to literally just make like a set, like a concept album that was a set of vignettes of like really brutal things happening in Minecraft. And this fucking track was gonna be about like the end of the world kind of thing, because like someone's asked, do I like Blue Stolly? Yeah, I like Blue Stolly. And that was East West. So like the story of this particular track, was this the first Creeper? I think no, this wasn't the first Creeper. That was something else. This one, like if you think about Minecraft, like you're just one dude alone in a world of zombies and like terrible monsters. Shit happened. So like I was gonna make a story about like the previous civilization that delved too deep and too greedily and like breached the Nether or something, and like a creeper was actually a scientific experiment to create a better explosive to breach bedrock, and like a person like fell into it and then like became the creeper like that. That was this fucking song. That obviously didn't go anywhere, but that was why I wrote this. It's worth noting that like the first popular video I ever made was a Minecraft video, and I radically read the wrong things into why that was popular. I didn't know shit back then, man. And so far as my metal stuff, the last thing that I did that was really metal, like you guys pretty much are familiar with. And there's also like my metal band stuff, which is like we're actually recording our current album now, so that when that happens, I'll share that around because it's gonna be good or it's not gonna come out at all. But like there's this song, which is like one of the oldest songs on my SoundCloud. This is back when I desperately wanted to be Periphery. So off time. It ends. Somebody in the chat actually asked if I was influenced by Joey Sturgis, and the answer is probably yes, although I'm not like intimately familiar with the things that he's done. Fun fact though, I'm going to be on a podcast soon with him. So that was me super into metal, like really epic kind of stuff. But like, let's go back, even farther back to actual electronic stuff, because the metal stuff was more of like my mid-level career, and it ended right around the time that I made Bass Addicts. Someone in the chat asked when I knew that I was going to be the Seamless that you know, and that was when I made the track Dreams of Bass. Although actually, there's even older tracks that are pretty relevant. Oh damn, I don't remember what the hell. Oh, it was okay. I don't know how I could possibly have forgotten this, but I made this track in the image line forums I called Harmful, because I figured out a cool bass that I could make with Harmer. This wasn't Harmer resampling, mind you. This was like the thing I do with the Hertz unison with the 9 voices. That's what this was. There it is. This intro takes like 9 years, so I'm just gonna skip ahead. So that's what that was. And this is actually a track that got the attention of Toby Emerson, who gave me my first gig as a sample producer on Black Octopus Sound. Soon after this, I sort of figured out the hardware sampling thing, and I made some tracks, and I made some of the sounds that are in the, I think it's called Twisted Bass Tools. We originally wanted to call it Neuro Bass Tools, but some other pack already was called that, so we couldn't call it that. So the track, though, that later kind of cemented the hardware sampling thing was, oh shit, I forgot what it was called. It began with an S. Damn it, it was one of the drum and bass ones. There was Saturated Derp. And I still didn't really get mixing. Like, I really didn't get it. And one of the, I guess I just don't have it here, but the biggest advice I give to new people about mixing and arrangement, that kind of thing, is to reference tracks. And the reason why I do that all the time is because I fucking didn't. And until I did, my stuff was just ridiculous. What's my first sidechain track? Probably Bass Annex. Honestly, because if you go listen to Dreams of Bass, there's no sidechaining in that track. I did learn how to use sidechaining for like metal stuff. Like I did the whole 5-band sidechaining thing in my metal mixes. Like I did that a lot. But like for electronic stuff, I don't think I did until Bass Annex, and not even for drum and bass stuff. I just didn't get it. And like Dreams of Bass was the part that made me do it, because I made Dreams of Bass, and Dreams of Bass has okay sound design, but like it's got no arrangement, weird shit going on. The mix is terrible. Everything about it is just wrong, and it's because I was coming at that from the metal perspective, which I kind of had down okay. I'm a lot better at it now, but like I didn't get it. So like I went and listened to a whole bunch of Feed Me, like Mort Fustang, Maddie, and the electro of the time, and then I made Bass Annex, and it worked. You see how well that worked? So like, that's the importance of referencing stuff, because you can have all the technical knowledge in the world, but if you're just operating on like your memory of your recreational consumption of music, it's not gonna work. But yeah, let's look at more really old shit. So, what's a good? Oh, where's the TS404 track? So I made a track that was 100% TS404. And it was like the 4th track I ever made. There it is. It's still happening. I promise. This ain't the Amen break. The irony of this track is that at the time I wasn't really big on synthesis. Like, I tried really hard, but I was just really bad at it. And that was the most manual synthesis I'd ever done on anything because TS404 didn't really have a lot of presets. I used presets for just fucking everything else. But what I was really big on was beats. I super duper loved finding drum loops and then cutting them up and turning them into like new beats. Actually, I could tell you why I'm into this too. I like breakbeat stuff. That's a big point of it. But there was actually a demo track in the older FL done by Pillcard, and it had like this really crazy like sliced beat that he just fucked like so hard and so good, and it was just amazing. And like that, like I was just so on. I was like, I want to do that because like the power of piano roll drum editing with Slicer, not Slice X, mind you, but Slicer, was just so freaking good. So like that's all I did for like 2 years was that. And that gave me stuff like this. A straight up cover of Linkin Park's Session. There it is. So that was like my crowning achievement for a while. And then something else happened. Also with TS404. This fucking track So I was like super duper into the Matrix soundtrack and pretty much everything done by Overseer. That was like my biggest. I was like tight with that, and so I made this track, and it's really terrible. But like at the time, I was like I fucking loved it forever, and I still kind of do, but only like in a nostalgic sense. And it's called Sprint, and it's another TS404 epic. This part right here is really funny because I up to this point I remember this like clear as day. I was writing it. I was like, I should really vary the bass line. I've been doing the same bass line this whole time. And I do like 2 bars of this. I'm like, nah. It goes on like that for fucking forever. And so I mentioned it kind of reminds them of Back, and Back is really just kind of like a spiritual successor to this track. There was a literal successor to this track that I made, I think, 2 years later. Irony about this track is I actually don't like it as much as the other one. That's the thing about some of the older songs is that they're technically inferior, like hugely. They're just so really just bad, but I made them work as well as I could for what they were, and as a result, they fit together and they create a sound in such a way that I really can't make better, which is really unfortunate sometimes. What else is down here? So that was like the breakbeat stuff, but I was also super duper into drum and bass. In fact, let's go find some of my oldest drum and bass. Okay. This actually isn't the oldest, but I'm gonna play it anyway because it makes me mad. This track is called 88%. I don't remember why I call it that, but it makes me mad because it has an extremely good intro. Its intro is so good, and like the rest of the track does not live up to the intro. And this track, this is actually pretty good because this is before I really understood DJ mixes. Like I told this before about how I used to think that like I listened to the Pendulum Radio 1 DJ mix, and the first one, and there are some parts where like I really don't know when one song ends and the other song begins, which is a guitar mark of a good mix. But like I literally didn't know that they were different songs. So like I would write songs that were 3 different songs in one song because I thought for some reason the style just meant that I had to switch tone so hard in halfway through the song. So that's how I wrote songs back then. So here's this. Name the Camel Space preset. I had that for free. So I'll skip around and show you how weird this track gets. Still the same track. But anyway, this fucking this part. That bass was like my go-to neuro bass for like maybe 2.5 years. It's a citrus sound. It's basically just a square wave with the LP3 with the gain all the way up on the filter. So it's like it's distorting it, phase modulation. I understand now what was happening, but I didn't get what was happening at the time. And all I knew is that was the closest I'd ever gotten to a noisier sound. You know. So that I used that a lot. I really couldn't get away from it because honestly it was the best I got. Like I used it in this track. Here's some of my old hip hop. Kinda. It's the closest thing I got to hip hop, honestly. That made it look like dancing, but I was stretching. Here it comes. I want to point out that at this point, I had never heard dubstep in my life, and I had never actually heard the term wobble. Well, yeah, drum solo, because that's necessary. And the blue glitch makes an appearance, which I used heavily on all my stuff pretty much until like 2012. What's this good? Oh, I fucking love this track. So, this is kind of interesting because I wanted to see if I could make this track. I wanted to see if I could make realistic string tremolo without using tremolo samples. So I had the Squid font or orchestral sound font. I had a lot of sound fonts, and there's a tremolo sound, but I wanted to see if I could do rhythmic tremolo just by moving notes. So see if you can tell me which one's which, because I use both. Citrus presets. Let's see, I was still in high school when this was happening, so this had to have been before 2007. This was probably 2005, honestly. A lot of the breakbeat stuff, like this kind of stuff, was that time. Then I think it repeats and ends. I just found an interesting track. If this is the track I think it is. It is. Awesome. So, I don't know when the Silent Hill movie came out, the first one, but after I saw it, I was really into the Silent Hill soundtrack. So I made this song. That's a dry guitar that I pitched down really, really far. Love this part. That's pretty good, that one. So here's this track. This is called Atmos. That's because I used a shit ton of atmosphere in it. And by that, I mean the Spectrasonics plugin Atmosphere. This was during my Amon Tobin craze. So I was still in high school, 2006. This track is 8 minutes long. I'm going to cut it off after a point because it honestly gets really, really boring after one particular spot. And then it does this for 6 more minutes. Really not as good after that point. I was really into that track for a long time. Bass 2? Oh, not that. Hold up, but this is cool. I made this in like 2005. This is Wasp. A chick danced to this at school, like as an actual thing. We put on shows all the time, and someone danced to this. There's really not a huge reason to use Wasp. I don't really know where this song goes, honestly. I don't remember it being this long. Oh, this. It's kind of slow and ambient. It does that for a long time. Okay, actually, I have this one on my SoundCloud. It's called Break 2. Well, listen to that. It's on my SoundCloud. This one was like my most popular song for a long time. You might be thinking, popular on what platform? Where were you ever on anything? And the primary answer to that is I was on a website called SeamlessR, which was an alternative to DeviantArt. DeviantArt never adapted audio, but I got around that once by making Flash. That was just a song. But that's all there was about that. And but like on SeamlessR, this came off as like my most popular track. Someone in the chat asks, do I still have projects for these? Will they even load? And the answer to that is no. I do still have the projects, but I don't have any of the material I used to make this because it was super heavy into samples and sound fonts. And like, I just don't have them anymore. Hard drive space was kind of at a premium back then, and I got rid of all of it. Which in hindsight was really dumb. Someone in the chat asked, what piano was this? Standard FL keys? And no, this was some sound font. Like, I can't express to you how many sound fonts I had. And like, what's really funny is that I was talking to Porter Robinson when I was building his computer, and he told me that, like, he showed me how he just, everything he does is sound fonts. And I just think that's really funny, but I can also totally get it. Like, I really get it. Because, like, for a huge portion of time, everything I made was made out of sound fonts. Oh boy. Okay. So, a while ago, me and a friend of mine decided that we were going to not necessarily cover System of a Down, but do like System of a Down inspired songs. So here's a song called Cellophane. It's really not very good mix-wise. Just prepare yourself for that.
constricted, sound restricted, found addicted, soul convicted. Stretch your mind, stretch your eyes, stretch your spirit, let it fly. Stretch your life, stretch your sin, stretch your faith and let the demons in. Wrapped in sheets of cellophane, piece of meat, you go insane. Your body tells you you're in pain from the lack of O2 to the brain. Your captor, he's with you, but there is nothing you can do. Don't bother, he tells you, you can't stop your skin from turning blue. He cries, you die! He laughs while on the floor you lie. You pray, but your soul is going to fry. Manic, panic, you're organic. Lungs are sinking like the Titanic. Kneeling, feeling, your light is peeling. Fall right over, staring at the ceiling. Cellophane.
I don't remember this part. This is not my guitar solo, this is my friend.
This is how your world ends. Not with a bang, but a strike of rendered breathless by the cellophane. Bound constricted, sound restricted, found addicted, soul convicted. Bound constricted, sound restricted, found addicted, soul convicted. He cries, you die! He laughs while on the floor you lie. You pray, but your soul is going to fall. Manic, panic, you're organic. Lungs are sinking like the Titanic. Kneeling, feeling, your light is peeling. Fall right over, staring at the ceiling.
That track would have been good if it was good. It's mostly like I didn't know anything about mixing guitars. Like the tone, that was Guitar Rig 2, I think I used to make that tone. So like it was fucking bad. But like in the future, I made this track called Systemic, which is actually on my YouTube. It's one of the older songs, and I'm a little bit better at the tone. Didn't quite have the drum tone down on this. Yeah, I tried to put a really uncharacteristic solo in there. I mentioned I was going to show you drum and bass stuff, so let's look at really, really old drum and bass stuff. It's like this part right here is the only part that makes the song worthwhile. God damn it, this track's hilarious. That was D&B 1. That's what it's called, D&B 1. Remember about should I tell you about naming your stuff? Didn't do that back in the day. This is D&B 2. Oh shit. This track is hilarious. Literally just the same thing over and over again. And then there's D&B 3. It's pretty awful. D&B 4. This was actually kind of okay for the time. Which was like 2006 still? 2007 maybe? I kind of like this a lot, honestly. low passing drums. Citrus presets. This is my favorite part of the whole song. Oh man, that's still really good. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I love that fucking song. Oh boy. All right, so then I made a song called Confess, which I've actually played before for people. This is my, I tried to be a little pendulum-y. I also tried to like incorporate like movie vocal cuts. People do that a lot.
Have something to confess. Do it now. Give yourself some peace. If you have something to confess, do it now. Give yourself some peace.
And then it copies itself. Like, I honestly want to do that song again sometime. But like, there's some like super duper like nuancey stuff to how bad it is that make it sound the way it does. That like every time I try, it doesn't work out. After that, I made a track that for a very long time was like the pinnacle of my drum and bass abilities. And I used it actually in one of my frag videos. I gotta get this. This part. And then it goes through like 9 shitty variations that like totally ruin the point of the track. But like that whole part there with the riots, I didn't make a track I liked as good as that until Empire. That was like 10 years apart. Like it's insane how old that song is. There's a lot of the little accidents that made that thing the thing that I liked. Okay, all right. This track is funny as shit. So, how my Sinister Sundown track, that was pretty great. All right. So this track I have called it long-winded, but here's the thing. Around this time, I was dating a Baptist. and I went to the Bible studies and shit that she went to because obviously, and I actually kind of liked the guy that did the Bible studies. He was a very logical dude, and it was fun to talk to him. And he knew that I did music, so he does music too, and he decided to challenge me to score Exodus, the Bible, Exodus in the Bible. And if you're not familiar with that, that's basically what the Prince of Egypt is based on. And so I did. And it's very long, but I'm just going to skip through it. This is one kind of funny part later on that involves Slayer, I think. So, here it begins. I forget. I think it's just like just regular Egypt. Nothing's really special happening. It's like, yay. And like he gets the Pharaoh gets the prophecy, and so then he kills all the Jews, or all the firstborn sons rather. It's a problem. There it is. This is Moses down the river. This is Moses just being like buddies with the prince. He's just having a good life, kind of whatever. He's starting to notice that shit's bad. He doesn't like slavery. He's just kind of like, oh man. And he starts to speak up, and he gets pushed out, and now he's in the desert. This is the desert theme. He gets rescued by the village that's out there. Now he meets God, the burning bush. All right, now we're back in Egypt, and shit's just bad still. All right, here comes Moses he's talking to the Pharaoh, right? Doing the whole "let my people go" thing, and he's like, no. And Moses is like, all right, shit's gonna get real. I want to point out God of War did exist at this point. Here come the plagues. Here come the plagues. Still like, let my people go, and it's like, no. It's like, shit's gonna get really bad, man. It's like, no. It's like, my God is stronger than yours. There's a lot of gods in Egypt. And Pharaoh's like, no, and Moses is like, okay, bro. Get rid of some really bad metal. That incredible compression artifact was on purpose, and that's the part where Moses splits the Red Sea and then closes it on the Egyptians. And that's over. There's a bunch of bullshit that happens after that, but it's not very good. Yes, I've heard of Camel. I'm familiar with that. Someone actually pointed out, it's like, that Metallica snare. And funny fucking fact, the drums in that were the black kit from East West in the Goliath pack, where it's essentially just it's Metallica's kit that they sampled. So that was that. That was that time. Around the time, so when this was happening, I was really freaking into doing soundtracks. I really wanted to be a video game soundtrack designer. And what I did to try and like jumpstart my career was to do work for mods. Indie games weren't really a thing back then. Steam actually didn't have the green light. Steam wasn't even really that popular at the time. This is around, honestly, this is like Half-Life 2 just came out. So, I know it is later than that. It's like 3 or 4 years after Half-Life 2 came out. But like, there was no green light. There was no early access. Like Minecraft didn't exist. Mountain Blade didn't exist. All like the indie darlings that people know about didn't exist. So the only recourse a person had to actually break in the industry was to work on mods. My pick was to work on Crysis mods because Crysis had just come out. Crysis Wars hadn't come out, so it was still just Crysis. Crysis 2 and whatever wasn't even on the horizon, and they were really pushing the whole CryEngine thing. So people were making games with CryEngine. And so I went into the CryMod forums and tried really hard to be the guy. Again, I talked about this in the beginning of the stream about how I wanted to be the music guy. I tried really hard to be the music guy. I did try, okay, so like the ModDB, someone mentioned about ModDB, and like, I actually did try to do a couple of Max Payne mods, but nobody. And honestly, the CryEngine mods weren't that much better because nobody fucking finished anything. Not a single I did a lot of work. Like, let me show you a fucking thing I did. And like Fmod was the thing that that CryEngine used to do the work. And I made this track that all the tracks I made to be looped. I made it to be incremental loops so that you could switch and fade in between the parts so that like, as you progress through the level, you could actually change the track. And like I made shit like this, which like for quite a long time was like my crowning achievement that never got used because the game's never finished because nobody finished shit. Can you tell I'm still salty? So that was that. I did actually get some music into some games. Pretty much, well, by some games I mean one game. The one game I got into was Half-Life 2 Capture the Flag, a mod that went standalone and used tracks such as this, which I called Flag Arena. That preset, by the way, is called Mangled and Love Filter. I really like that beat. Someone asked what this paintbrush is for. I use this to dust stuff. Like, because I have a giant beard and I shed a lot, which means the hair just ends up everywhere. So I have to have a brush to dust stuff. I have a smaller one too. Where'd it go? I guess it was too small. I was like just using it too. I probably put it somewhere smart, thinking like, oh, I'll remember where it is because I put it somewhere smart, and then I remember. Somebody asked why I didn't end up doing sound design for games, and I actually was going to make a video about this, like specifically about this topic, about how really hard the professional sound design industry is to break into. These days, you're pretty much never going to have a sound design job like you think exists. That's a job that doesn't exist anymore. Like you think people like Marty O'Donnell for Bungie when he was still a thing in Bungie, like being the guy that does the sounds. Like that's not a thing that happens anymore unless you like grow up with the company or are part of the founding team. And the reason for that is because now the industry is all about aggregate like libraries that companies make available to companies to license stuff from, which means that if I want to have something that goes into a movie, I put something in that library and hope it gets picked, which means that I have no interaction whatsoever with any kind of direction from like any director, even like sound design director, that kind of thing. I was removed from that as far as possible. So, and beyond that, I also didn't get early on that what the industry looks for is not quality. They look for speed. They want speed and they want consistency. They want you to be able to make reasonable sounds. They don't really want you to make the best sounds. They want you to make reasonable sounds really goddamn fast so they can pay you as little as possible, so they can get it done under budget, so they can get it done in a deadline, and so they can have it happen and then be the end of that. The industry is a goddamn meat grinder for creative types, and I didn't realize that for an extremely long time, and by the time I did, I was already doing seamless stuff. So like it was moot. So there's that. Like, you might give me examples about how, like, you know, noise, you did only cry, that kind of thing. And, like, that is an unbelievable outlier because that's what happens when a company wants name recognition. So they just let a guy, or two guys in this case, do what the fuck they want because that's who they are and they'll do a good job. And they give them free reign to do that. They don't give fucking nobodies that chance. They don't let people do that. They give them deadlines, they give them budgets, and then they just have to do what they can to meet under that. And that's the end of the story. That's how the sounds are made. This is why you see like naked massive presets end up in AAA blockbuster movies. This is why naked Omnisphere presets were in the menu for StarCraft 2. Like that's the world that exists for professional sound designers, which is why I don't do that. Anyway, here's my remix of Flying Battery Zone. I was still in high school when I made this, so this is pre-2007. so on and so forth. People are still talking about the fucking the whole like shitty industry with sound designers and that kind of thing. And somebody mentioned the idea that you should probably work for nothing to gain exposure. And in any fucking creative field ever made, don't ever do that. Do not. There's no real reason to do that. And you will always only just get screwed. It will never work out. Like, in every form of it that's ever existed, it's really not a good idea unless like you can build your own your own portfolio by yourself. So like this is how the thought worked for me. Like I went to go work for mods because I was like, oh, this is good for exposure. Because every video game company in the world, when they ask for credentials, they don't ask for portfolios. They ask for credits. They ask that you have credits on games. That's what they want. And so, like, I actually technically have a credit on a game now because I did that Killer Instinct remix, but that's really goes to show how fucking good that is. But they don't really want your portfolio. They don't really want that. They want to know that you can work in the industry. And like a lot of people, they make the same arguments about just regular like corporate jobs. Like, you know, they don't really care how good you are at Excel. They care that you can operate as an entity in a corporate environment. And that's what they want to know with the video game industry, because they don't give a shit about like what you can do. They just want to make sure that you can do it the way they want you to do it. That's what being a professional is. And like working for exposure is just not, it'll never stop. Like that, companies will just do that and hire you and have you and be the way you do that forever. And like my plan, honestly, like when I realized that the modding thing was going to go nowhere, was that it was just like, I'm just going to have to become so freaking amazing on my own that they'll come to me to do work. Because that's what happened with Noisia. Like Noisia, I mean, I'm sure maybe they have unbelievable amount of contacts in the industry, so they can probably just call someone and be like, hey, I want to do games. And someone's like, I got just a thing. And they just have, and people know who they are. But that's the thing, it's because people who know who they are, they have seen their portfolio, they know that they're ridiculous, they have the name recognition, so people are just like, oh shit, if Noisia wants to make music for my game, I'm absolutely going to let them do that. So like that in my mind was the only way I was ever going to be able to get the kind of job that I want, which is I want to have full creative control over what I'm doing, room to be able to do what I want to do, and the possibilities to make my own creative decisions. That's a lot to ask. That is a shit ton to ask for any kind of company, indie or otherwise. So like the only way that was ever going to happen is if like I was undeniably worth it. And that's also hard to do. And then I strive to do that, and now I'm doing this. So it's kind of like I got good enough that I recognize that it's honestly just a lost cause to ever try to interact with that level of the industry. Indie stuff, maybe not so much, but like that's always just a gigantic gamble. Yeah. Work small company, get exposure. Like, he gets paid. Did he get paid? Is the thing. Get paid to do work. Don't do work for not getting paid. Like if you get a shitty pay, that's one thing, but you just get paid for it. Like, don't do anything for free. I don't. I'm actually not technically independent anymore because I'm signed to a label. So there's that. Oh yeah, so by popular demand, here's this. common thread between those two remixes, the Sonic remix and the Kingdom Hearts remix, is that they both have one element that I forgot to put in it. The way I did this when I made this originally was I actually went and found MIDI files that people had made for the songs, which made that pretty easy. And there was always like one, and this song is like do 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 do, and then there's like a little refrain moment where it's like do 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 do. I just did not put that in the song, and it's not because I chose to; it's because I fucking forgot. And same thing for the Sonic remix. There's a little thing it does, a riff that was in there that I just plumb forgot about. And I think that's kind of funny that at the time, these were the only two remixes I had ever done. And they both had that exact same mistake. Indeed. Wait, is this Kingdom Hearts? Yes, it is. This track is kind of funny because when I put it out, 2008? 9? 7? A long fucking time ago, people found it and they got shared around as whatever. And then like I put it up on SoundCloud. This is on SoundCloud. I put it up on YouTube. And people commented being like, wait, this is you? I had this forever. Oh my God. And I think that's really funny that people knew me from my old work and then found me as Seamless independently and had no idea that I was the same person. I can't imagine just the weird euphoric moment where they realize I'm the same person. Anyway. Is it when you're flying in the gummy ship? No, this is the very beginning. It's called Sinister Sundown, and it's what the hell's that level called? It's where you fight the nobodies for the first time as Roxas. And such. Yeah, anyway, I'm done. Thanks for sticking around for 2 hours to listen to the chronicling of Seamless. I just felt like I needed to do that. And now I'm going to upload a 2-hour 60 FPS video wherein the video source that I recorded was recording at 30 FPS. Good job. Good job, me. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. I gotta go do a thing. I'm gonna stop recording. For those of you watching on YouTube, thanks for doing that. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all the good stuff. And as usual, have a nice day. I actually almost forgot to say that to people.